Alrighty boyos, welcome back once again to another video. How you guys doing? Guys, today we're going to be doing a general commentary video talking about the hero rework and really determining whether or not the hero rework was a good thing for Save the World. In general, was this update overall a really good thing for Save the World, or was it bad, or was it in between, or anything like that? Because the hero rework in general is a very hot topic amongst the community. A lot of people have a lot of differing opinions on this, and that is why I took this into account. So for those of you guys that don't follow me on Twitter, I put a tweet out yesterday that said, respond to this tweet for a chance to be featured in tomorrow's video. I said, do you like the hero rework for Save the World? Why or why not? Be 100% in your replies, please, and feel free to add more than one tweet if you run out of space. This tweet got over 128 replies. This video right here is a very community-based video. I took your guys' feedback and I put it into a huge list that I would be able to go over in today's video. I couldn't just go off of my opinions alone. You know, my opinions are my opinions, and there's a lot of other people that have a lot of different ways of viewing things whenever it comes to this hero rework. So I wanted to make this video very community based, and I'll have somewhere on the screen, you know, scrolling through all the tweets, because I would like to put a lot of these on here, but I'd rather just put everybody's tweets because the community was the reason that I was able to make this video. So thank you guys so much for replying to that tweet and allowing this video to get out. But without further ado, let's go over it. So I made a list. I made a good list and I made a bad list for Save the World. And to be honest, the good list is very big and the bad list is very big as well. So we're going to be going over them, starting with the good and then going to the bad. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to give you guys my own personal input on the rework, you know. But like I said, this entire list of good and bad was compiled by you guys. And then at the end of the video, I'll give you my own input on the hero rework. So without further ado and without all of this talking, let's go ahead and jump into it and determine whether the hero rework was overall a good thing for Save the World. Now, let's go ahead and start off with the list of good things that the hero rework brought to Save the World. Now, something that I actually saw a lot of was this in particular. It's a breath of fresh air for many players. Now, whether you're an old player, whether you're a newer player, I think we can all agree that with the hero rework, it is a breath of fresh air. It is a completely new entire redesign of one of the main components of the game, and it's entirely different from how it used to be. And I agree, it is a good thing to have a breath of fresh air in the game. You know, me personally, I've been feeling like Save the World has been getting kind of boring recently, but with this new hero rework, I've honestly been playing the game more than I ever have been in the past. Another thing is that every hero in the game has the chance to be useful. Now, a lot of people were saying this. I personally can somewhat disagree with this, but for the most part, yes, every hero in the game has the chance to be useful. If they're a support bonus, maybe less, but the whole purpose behind this thing being in the list is that regardless of a hero being good or bad in general, if you like the skin and you choose to use that character as your commander, it can still be a useful hero. For example, somebody like Miss Bunny Penny, in my opinion, isn't that good of a character, but if you like the skin for that character, then she is still useful at the end of the day, and you can also give her a really good support squad to make her very viable. Now, the next thing is that min-maxers, which are people that strive to do the best in the game possible, still have a very viable meta to use. The previous meta that we had in Save the World was the Reclaimer Outlander and Urban Assault Headhunter before this entire new rework. And with this rework, there still is a meta. I think a lot of people were very worried that, you know, when this hero rework came out, everything was going to be good or everything was going to be too balanced for certain things to stick out. And no, that's not the case. You know, you still have your heroes that stick out far beyond the rest, and it gives the game a meta and it encourages people to still go for that really good playstyle if they desire. Another thing that people were talking about is that the customization is out of this world, and I personally just have to agree with this. I've seen a lot of people talking about how reskins were such a really good thing for the game because you would have this one class and then you would have multiple reskins that you would be able to play for that class. But in my opinion, I feel like the customization in the hero rework is a lot better, as in you can make whatever skin you want to be whatever class you want, and you're very limited on what you can't do, in my opinion. Sometimes there are certain support bonuses and certain commander bonuses that just won't be able to give you that feel that you want, but for the most part, you can make any character be however you want them to be. Another good thing is that this update encourages the grind for new players, and I do have to agree on this one. Even older players at that will still have a little bit of a grind because everybody's wanting to get these new heroes and trying to experiment with what builds they can go for. Another thing is that class perks actually ensure that each class feels as it should regardless of the build, and this is something I'm very glad that I'm very happy that Epic Games were able to see this and not have this be an oversight, because soldiers definitely feel like soldiers, ninjas definitely feel like ninjas, constructors, outlanders, whatever, they definitely feel like the character they're supposed to be because of these class perks, and I think that was a good idea. We also have team perks, because team perks will encourage different team compositions for different bonuses, and I think as time goes on we will see more team perks added to the game, because in my opinion right now team perks are a little bit on the lesser side. There's really not many, and there's not many really good ones, so I think as time goes on team perks will be a very good thing, because they do encourage different team compositions so that people will try new things. Now we have another one that says encourages to look at every hero in the game. So pretty much now, ever since the rework came out, no matter what the hero is, you're usually encouraged to check them out regardless, because every single hero in this game can be used for something, and I definitely agree with this. Melee received a huge buff is on the list. Yes, I agree with this as well. Melee, at least in its current state, is still kind of bad, and it can be improved upon, but this is a very good step in general for improving Melee across the board, and they did a really good job. Ninjas, another thing, ninjas got an insane buff across the board as well. Ninjas went from the laughing stock class to where, you know, you can barely use them in the end game, to where now ninjas are actually really good, and most ninjas are going to be able to accomplish some really good things. Another thing is that changes will be added over time, refining the rework to our liking, and this is something I'm definitely very happy about, because as we've seen with Epic Games is that they try with certain things to make sure that it gets to be exactly how we want. Now sometimes this can be a bad thing, sometimes it can be a good thing. The reason that we see rare perk up and uncommon perk up in Twine Peaks is because of Reddit, and Reddit was constantly asking for it. However, when it got implemented into the game, people didn't like the idea. I personally thought it was a bad idea to begin with, but this is an example of something that the community wanted turning out to be a bad thing. But hopefully in this case, we giving the developers feedback on the rework can make it turn into something that we all genuinely really like. Another thing on the list is that more heroes will be added in the future, making builds fresh, and I agree with this. Instead of getting a reskin, instead of getting a character that's only good if you play as that character, you can get a new hero added in an update that is an insane support bonus and can change the entirety of the meta just from a simple update. You know, normally, you know, you have this new character come out, Sergeant Winter or whatever, and let's say Sergeant Winter is his own unique hero before the rework. Well, the only time you're really going to get use out of that hero is if you're playing as that hero. But now with the rework, even if you're not playing as a new character that gets added, chances are you'll still be able to make very good use out of him because of your so ever many support bonuses that you can have. And lastly, for the list of good things, this is something that we slightly touched on. It's that new players and old players now have a new thing to grind for, as loadouts require a lot of different pieces to create, and I definitely agree with this. I find myself going for heroes like with the new hero quest that came out, and I find myself really enjoying the hero grind and, you know, trying to get all these different heroes for my different builds. I definitely agree with this. Now let's go ahead and move on over to the bad things. We did have quite the list of good things, but we also have the list of bad things as well. Some of these are from what you guys said, and some of these are from my own personal opinions. Now, number one, I think this goes without saying for everybody. Nobody asked for the hero rework. This is the number one bad thing about the hero rework, and it's that nobody asked for it. Everybody's been asking for all these different things, right? You know, the locker for Save the World, which we already know is coming. Epic Games confirmed that it is in the AMA, but you know, we've been asking for that. We've been asking for a Twine Peaks biome. We've been asking for a Twine Peaks story. Now, granted, a good thing on Epic's behalf is that, you know, something that people have been asking, for example, the Plankerton biome. I myself have been asking for this because it is an aspect of the game that was left unfinished that needed to be finished. Epic Games did get the Plankerton biome done, and with the locker, you know, we've been asking for the locker for a very long time. They did ensure us that the locker will be here soon, on top of the rework also being completed. But still, nobody asked for the rework, and that time could have went into something 100% better. Another thing on the bad list is that lots of really good heroes are near unobtainable due to a lack of vouchers, and this is one of my main gripes. A lot of the really good heroes in this game are event heroes, and many people can't get them because of a lack of vouchers. And another thing on the bad list, very limited vouchers for every person across the board. Why is it that people that have played the game the most got the most vouchers, while people that have played the game the least got the least vouchers? This was a point I made day one whenever all this was going down. You know, the vouchers are a very good thing for newer players, not older players. If anything, I myself, I got 7 vouchers. I haven't even used any of them for anything that I need. Somebody that needs those 7 vouchers sounds like somebody that would be, you know, earlier on in the game that doesn't have as many heroes as me. I feel like the voucher thing is a really big problem. Another thing on the bad list is that there is no quest line that you can actually earn vouchers. There is no repeatable quest line that you can grind for to earn vouchers, and this is a huge thing. I feel like people should be able to earn these heroes some way in game. Now, another thing that I do want to point out though is that Epic Games is probably going to be improving on this, allowing people later down the line to actually earn vouchers, but it's still a big problem in my opinion. This whole voucher ordeal is a huge oversight from Epic Games in my opinion. Another thing that I heard a lot from you guys is that some heroes were drastically changed from how they used to be. Example is MGR, Striker AC, Field Agent, and all sorts of other heroes. You know, and this is something that I greatly agree with. Me personally, it hasn't really affected me. I don't care how the previous heroes were working, but for this update, a lot of people are really annoyed. People that used to main Striker AC whenever they would go farming, for example. I myself would never really go farming, but you know, I can see that this is a problem. You know, people that really like to farm and would do it in their free time when they could, now are a lot less effective at doing it because of how much it's changed. Field Agent and MGR are completely different from how they used to be. Another thing is that AMC, you know, speaking of the farming heroes, the anti-material charge got a huge nerf across the board, which makes no sense whatsoever. Even trying to hit certain enemies with your anti-material charge is sometimes unrecognizable by the game that you're actually trying to hit an enemy instead of an object, and sometimes you won't even be doing any damage, nor will you be knocking down enemies, nor will you be going any farther with that AMC. The AMC got a huge nerf anti-material charge, and that's something that is completely bewildered me personally. Another thing on the bad list is that there's a lack of loadouts, as there's only 5, and for me this is a huge deal. I do a lot of experimental loadouts, I do a lot of informational loadouts, and as a YouTuber, it leaves me with very little space for actual loadouts that I like to play as. Just the other day, I had to get rid of my Love Ranger loadout so that I could afford to do a build for another character, you know, and then I had to then go back and then remake my Love Ranger loadout, or my Dark Love Ranger, but you know, that's annoying. We need more than 5 slots, and I'm pretty sure Epic already confirmed that this is going to be a thing in the future, but it's an oversight as it wasn't here day one. Another bad thing is that there was tons of bugs in this update. As you guys know, I criticize Epic Games a lot about the bugs that they add into the game, and with this update, there was a lot. There wasn't as many as I figured there could be, but there was still a lot of bugs in this update. Another thing on the bad list is that every loadout from the previous update should be able to be recreated, but it's not able to be. There are certain loadouts that you were used to be able to play, you know, back before the hero rework, that you can't recreate even if you wanted to. And even if you slightly could, it could still be a little bit less as good, you know, not as good than how it was before the rework. So a lot of these loadouts, a lot of these classes that people used to like are hard to recreate or not even recreatable at all. And I feel like during this hero rework, you know, whenever they were making it, they should have taken this into account as in, hey, every single previous class should be able to be recreated in some way or another. And this is a huge thing, as for me personally, Rescue Trooper was a huge subclass for me. I enjoyed Rescue Trooper a lot, and now I can't really recreate them to the best of my ability if I wanted to, as it will still more than likely not be as good as how it used to be. For the last 2 things that we have on the bad list is that this update can be very overwhelming for newer players, as in, you know, newer players come to the game, there's a lot of different changes, way more complicated than how it used to be. You know, Fortnite Save the World is seen as a complicated game anyways, and that there's a lot of stuff that people need to learn, and that they go to YouTubers for this, and still aren't able to learn everything in the game for a very long time. And so this hero rework kind of overcomplicated a lot of things for newer players, and for some older players, you know, they still don't really fully understand the rework. And lastly, there's too much XP gain across the board. I feel like with this hero rework, the only XP that should have been buffed was hero XP, and maybe Evo mats as well. But the fact that you're buffing schematic XP as well as survivor XP makes no sense to me. Level 131 means even less now than it did before, and you know, schematic XP, it has nothing to do with the hero rework necessarily. So there's a lot of bad things on this list. You know, there was a lot of bad things, but there's also a lot of good things. And at the end of the day, I'll give you guys my own personal input on the entire situation as a whole. I feel like the hero rework was a good thing. I feel like a lot of these bad things will eventually get fixed. Too much XP gain across the board. If we complain about it, things will get changed. Overwhelming for new players, you know, new tutorials may be added in the future as time goes on. You know, loadouts not being able to be recreated. As more heroes get added, chances are we'll be able to do that. A lack of loadout slots, that may change. Some heroes were drastically changed from how they used to be. They may have some, you know, rebalance, reworks, and, you know, changing how these heroes work. You know, quests for vouchers may be a thing in the future. You know, certain heroes that were unobtainable can be obtainable soon. All this kind of stuff. The list of bad things is something that we really need to look at, and we really need to voice our opinions about if we want to get things changed. However, I do feel like most things that are on the bad list are going to get changed in the future. After all, this game evolves as time goes on, and things will change with time. So I feel like most of the bad things on this list are very important to look at, and there's something that we definitely need to voice our opinions about. But in general, I feel like as time goes on, most of these bad things will disappear, and in my opinion, the hero rework as a whole was a very good thing for the game. As you guys know, I try to give you guys my most honest opinions. If Epic Games truly screwed up on this one and that's how I felt about it, I would give them proper criticism. But in my opinion, I highly enjoy it, and I feel like the good outweighs the bad, and as time goes on, the bad will soon disappear into nothingness. But at the end of the day, even though this video was heavily inspired by the community, and a lot of these things that are on this list were told to me by you guys, let me know in the comments how you feel about the hero rework. You know, I want to make this video as informational as possible, not only in the video that you're watching, but in the comment section down below. Good or bad, it's important that the community speaks about this in my comment section, across all of YouTube, on Reddit, on Twitter. It's important that Epic Games hears what we have to say, and I feel like it's very good if we could all help each other out and kind of have a general discussion about things in the comments down below. This is the internet after all, so we'll probably have some people arguing, but aside from that, I want you guys to talk it out in the comments. But guys, thank you so much for watching. I greatly do appreciate it. Like I said, this video was heavily inspired by the community, and I just want to give a huge thank you to everybody that helped me compile this video. But guys, that's it for me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.